absolutely no desire to be the only woman in a man's life. In fact, that's actually my nightmare scenario. It is such a green flag to me when a man has a lot of female friendships, because it means that your connection with him is not just because you're a girl that he gets along with. He has women that he gets along with. He has women he's connected to. He has women that he loves, but the way he feels about you is different.
We've got women making all sorts of demands, and they have their expectations set so high that men aren't looking their way for anything serious anymore. It seems like the dating game is becoming more and more of a struggle every day, and people are in it for themselves more than anything else, so I don't see things getting better anytime soon. Before we jump into the video, please hit the subscribe button and show the channel some love, because I'm hoping to do things bigger and better over here, but I can't do it without you. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the mess.
When attractive men think that you're going to lower your standards for them just because they're attractive is hilarious. There's this guy who's actively pursuing me, and not going to lie, he's very attractive. But he has told me that he doesn't like putting in a lot of effort because, like, he likes girls that are, like, down to earth and low maintenance. And I'm like, okay, then I'm not the girl for you. And he's like, well, like, you should give this a chance. And I'm like, I'm not lowering my standards just to go out with you. Like, if you're not going to plan a date, if you're not going to take me out, if you're not going to text me, if you're not going to do the things that I need you to do, I'm not lowering my standards just because you're hot.
So why are you still talking to me?
And I think he thinks that I'm going to, like, this has been going on for weeks where I keep telling him, like, this is what you need to do. This is, if you want to pursue me, these are the things you need to do. And he's not doing them. And then he gets mad. And then I'm like, well, what did you expect? I'm not lowering my standards for you.
Even though this woman's complaining about this attractive guy who's trying to get with her, I couldn't help but notice that towards the end of the video, she said this has been going on for weeks, which says to me she's still entertaining the guy. If she really had no intention of lowering her standards, she would have cut him off a long time ago. In my experience, whenever a guy can keep a woman talking and engaged with him, it's only a matter of time before he's clapping those cheeks. So, until she cuts him off, all this talk that she's giving now doesn't really mean anything. It's just lip service for the internet. When women are dealing with a desirable guy, they tend to excuse his red flags, or at the very least, give him more wiggle room. If the guy that this woman in the video was talking about was just an average-looking man, do you think she would have blocked him by now? To me, it looks like she's trying to negotiate with this guy because she's not ready to lose him, despite the fact that he's not giving her what she wants. If she had a better option out there, she wouldn't be going back and forth with this man. But since she doesn't, she's become invested and unable to escape whatever loop she's caught up in. At the end of the day, talk is cheap. If she really wanted to maintain whatever standard she's set for herself, she wouldn't be entertaining whatever this is.
I think a lot of men are failing to understand that women don't want boyfriends. If I wanted a boyfriend, I could go out onto the street right now and come back with 5.
Do it then.
Finding a boyfriend is not hard. Finding a partner, completely different story. And I think the problem is women are allowed to have bank accounts and credit cards and go to school and have careers and choose if and when we reproduce. So we are no longer shackled by raising children. Our lives have gotten exponentially better in the last 100 years. How have men progressed? It used to be that they brought money to the table, they provided for the family, they did all of these things. I have my own money. What can you give me now? Women want partners. We want people that are going to come into our lives, not only meet us where we're at, but push us to be better.
If women didn't want partners, there wouldn't be so many of them online complaining about how they can't find a man who'll commit. And her saying that she can go out onto the street and come back with 5 boyfriends is a load of nonsense. And we all know that women can't just get with any and anybody. I can promise you that those 5 guys she brings home won't be the type of men she wants, because if they were, there'd be nothing stopping her from doing that right now.
Ain't that the truth?
When she talks about the kind of man she wants, she's looking for someone who can push her forward, someone who will inspire her, someone who'll make her life better. But the question is, what will she do for him? Things have come a long way from how they were back in the day, and now women are free to do whatever they want. But even though they make their own money and can live independently if they choose to, the majority of them still want a man to provide, even if they're making their own money. Money they probably don't have any interest in sharing with the next guy who comes into their life.
I have absolutely no desire to be the only woman in a man's life. In fact, that's actually my nightmare scenario. It is such a green flag to me when a man has a lot of female friendships, because it means that your connection with him is not just because you're a girl that he gets along with. He has women that he gets along with. He has women he's connected to. He has women that he loves, but the way he feels about you is different, and he understands the difference between getting along with a woman, being friends with a woman, and romantic connection.
What is she talking about?
Whereas I feel like men that have no friendship with women tend to have a scarcity mindset, and they go, you're a girl, we get along, therefore we must kiss. And that to me is the most infuriating thing about dating men and befriending men.
While this might be true for her, I promise you that the majority of women won't be too excited about their partner hanging out with other women, especially if they're attractive, and the guy in question is someone who's very desirable to other women. If she meets a guy who's surrounded by a lot of women, especially if these women have an interest in him, this would be a form of pre-selection for her. But if these women friend-zoned him, which is why things have never progressed, I wonder what she'd think about it then. Towards the end, she talks about her and the guy in question having a special connection, and even though he could get with other women, at the end of the day, he chose her. From where I'm standing though, it just sounds like she's attracted to men with options. There are a lot of guys out there who have female friends, and while many of them have been safely sealed away in the friend zone, there are men who are very good with women and will hook up with their so-called friends from time to time. Right now, I don't really have any female friends, and when you're in a relationship of consequence, it's not a good idea to be hanging out with the opposite sex like that. As much as she tried to make it seem like men and women can be strictly platonic friends, from what I've seen and experienced in my life, that's just not the case, and there's always a chance that something can pop off one day.
And I've been thinking a lot about whether or not men and women can be friends, and I sort of realized it is so much easier, unfortunately, to be friends with men that are successful with women, because they don't automatically view friendship with women as an in to romance, as an in to sex. They view it as a totally separate entity because they don't find romance, sex, general connection with women hard to come by. Men that have a scarcity mindset when it comes to women can almost only get to romance through friendship.
Well, she's right about that.
So they see friendship with women as merely a stepping stone towards somewhere else. Men that have many female friends don't view it only to be a stepping stone. Men that don't struggle romantically or sexually with women don't need their friendship with you to serve as a stepping stone. Anyway, I could yap about this all day, but scarcity mindset is the death of true intentional connection.
Most men will sleep with most women if given the opportunity, and it doesn't really matter if they have a scarcity mindset or not. Now, if hooking up with a particular woman would bring drama into his life, a guy who has options is less likely to sleep with a woman because she won't be his only access to a good time. Guys who don't have options like that or completely lack sexual discipline will risk it all to clap some cheeks. So the woman in this clip is right about guys who struggle when it comes to dating. Throughout my life, I've known a few guys who were able to talk women into bed with ease, and I'm telling you now, having platonic female friends isn't something they were ever interested in. If a man who's good with women meets an attractive woman, I can pretty much guarantee you that the last thing on his mind is, I wonder if we could be friends. Unless, of course, we're talking about someone who's off limits to him, like the relative of a friend. And on that same note, if a woman meets a guy who's highly desirable, she's probably not thinking about friend-zoning him either.
The only way men can be friends with a woman, he's not attracted to her enough that he would sleep with her. But
Exactly.
the issue is most men would sleep with most women.
Well, this is I was going to say this. It's easy to be like, oh, not really their type, but surely when it's on the cards, men
So,
are
like,
quite
do you-
happy to, like,
So here's my
types of it
question.
come into it, your eyes are shut, like, they'll just have fun.
So out of like 5 of your male friends,
Yeah.
if you put 7 on the table, no strings attached, how many of that 5 do you think would take it?
Probably all of them.
Nah, man. Then
No,
can't be friends
because,
with them.
but if they were
Nope.
related, but if I put it on the table, but it's not on the table. If I literally was like, I haven't had any in ages, I want to have someone I trust, do you want to come round? I think almost all men, if they were single, would do that. But that doesn't mean they're not a true friend.
No, I disagree. I think a real friendship means that whether you're able to or not, you would both make sure it's platonic. The reason
think
guys
Josh-
work with
yeah,
guys
I
is
like-
because guys wouldn't sleep with their guy friends.
No, I would never send that text. That's why it's really hard for me to imagine the
I know.
scenario.
So here's my question. Would you ever sleep with them?
No.
Exactly. That's why you can be friends with them.
No, I wouldn't. It'd be disgusting.
Exactly. Now, here's the thing. In the nicest way possible, if a guy is not saying that about a woman, he can't be friends with her.
This clip demonstrates exactly what I was just talking about. The woman in the video before this was an attractive lady, and I don't doubt for a second that if she offered one of her guy friends some action, even if it was someone who had options, he'd be clapping those cheeks quicker than Thanos could snap his fingers.
I am seeing entirely too many women out here comfortable on this internet telling everybody about how they wouldn't want to stay with a man if he falls on hard times and can't financially support them to whatever extent they were being supported before. I mean, I've seen women literally say things as dumb as, well, if he loved me, he wouldn't fall on hard times. If he was paying my bills before, he better keep it up. Like, I don't understand what his hard times got to do with me.
This is why men say and recognize the fact that the only reason people put up with them is because they're able to provide something. When a man's no longer able to provide, in the eyes of a lot of people, he's useless, a waste of space, and not worth very much at all. It's natural, and most men accept the fact that women prefer men who can provide, but it's still pretty cold how quickly they can be thrown away the moment they can't do anything for you. And just like Chris Rock said in one of his stand-ups, only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. Fortunately though, not all women would up and leave the second a guy falls on hard times. Life's full of twists and turns. One moment things can be sailing along smoothly, and the next, it all goes left, which is why you've got to make sure you have the right person in your corner. The type of women she's talking about in this video have no interest in weathering the storm with their partner. It doesn't seem like they're looking for a real partnership or willing to make sacrifices. It's pure entitlement, nothing else.
When men say that women are delusional, this is what they're talking about, because let's look at it on the equal but opposite end of the pendulum, okay? Let's look at it as weight. If a man said, well, you were a size 2 when I married you, so I'm expecting you maintain that. Or why would I stay? There's other women out here who are a size 2. You know that's what I like. So if you fell off, that's your problem. Why should it be my problem? Why should I have to suffer just because you gained some weight?
Whenever a man says anything about a woman's weight these days, the world would be ready and waiting to come for his head. But why shouldn't he be able to expect his partner to stay in shape if she always expects him to have his money in check? When it comes to what a woman expects from men financially, it's pretty much normalized, and guys even get mocked for it on mainstream TV for not living up to their expectations. On the flip side of that though, if a man has expectations of women, he'll constantly be shamed for it. And the shame won't stop until he gets in line and accepts whatever's coming to him.
You'd be ready to beat that man over the head with a stick and call him all types of misogynistic. So why is it not the same when you are talking about what men provide women? Why are we losing it in the sauce when we should be speaking the same language? You should be keeping that same energy. If you want a man to understand and you want him to flex with you through life, because things happen, things change. There are things that are in your control and then there are things that are not. The same is true with finances for men. Men can maybe be on the upswing and shit can take a real turn left. Like, so you would be ready to leave that man because of it, but you don't expect him to leave you because of your exterior? Make it make sense.
What she's saying is pure facts. And honestly, there's not much more I can add to it. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you on the next one.